Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Thursday, the 6th of January, 2022. I am your host, the Shozen One, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, the man who likes to hang out with me for several hours a day and go, yes.
Yes. Hello. How are you doing, Shozen? How are you doing? I see
doing
a lot
pretty
of
good.
new people today in chat. Have you been advertising today?
Yeah, I have. I've been talking over in the game world,
Oh,
recruiting people who have not learned to turn off the global chat yet.
nice.
And I think I even reached a few new players today, and it's good to
Welcome.
see them here in chat. And I hope you do type !Raffle, as we will be giving away a lot of gold codes starting right now, as Stunzies 1 has won the raffle. You need to whisper me to claim your prize. I believe you know how it works, Stunzy.
We do have a few more raffles during the show later on. We have how many more? 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, 5 or so, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Keep an eye on Twitch chat. Keep that ! Raffle going. Yeah. What are we talking about today in the daily show? What is this kind of show that we do here on a regular basis on 19 UTC? We come together and talk about things. What are we talking about today?
Well, generally on Thursdays, Bogul, I like to do a new player show where we focus on some aspect of the game that we can explain to new players so they can get better at Albion and start to expand their gameplay repertoire. But we don't have one today. We don't.
Oh, okay.
No. So Robin's gonna work on one tonight. We're gonna do that show tomorrow, and
Mhm.
instead we're moving tomorrow's daily show where we would go over news, community events, and the great world that is Albion. We're gonna do that today. And since it's the beginning of the year, Bogle, and in the beginning of the year, you tend to do two things. You look back at what happened last year, and you look forward to what you'd like to do this year.
We
The other
already
day,
did the first part.
exactly. We've done it a couple of times now.
Yeah.
We looked back from our perspective from AOTV. I believe that was on the 30th. And then when we came back on Tuesday, we looked at it from the Sandbox Interactive perspective.
Mhm.
And we looked at their articles and we went over a lot of the same topics we'd already gone over before. But it was a really good year for Albion, to be quite honest. So we had that incredible mobile release. You had Call to Arms, which revitalized faction warfare, and then probably maybe the greatest or most well-received content update yet, The Lands Awakened, which has turned the Black Zones into something that we had all hoped and dreamed they could be. People are living there, fighting there, getting their rewards there, and doing a fantastic gameplay loop and really enjoying it there for I don't want to say the first time,
Mm.
but at a way that's more it's just better. It's good. Yes, good.
Yes, good. Yes, good. By the way, just as it happens on the background, we ended the ZVZ show that we just had where we cover on a regular basis what's going on at the Outlands with a large scale guilds, how they fight and who they fight and so on. We ended that show on a random person that we got teleported on in the roads. And these guys have been struggling to fight this boss that we're showing in the background for, I think, 3 attempts now. And they're finally about to down him. And I just wanted to acknowledge that these guys finally did that. There we go. There it is. And it's just nice to see that in action. And I want to finish up that thread from the previous show.
Okay.
And oh my god, I hope they harvest it at least.
Please harvest it. Nope, they're just
Are
here to
they
kill
not?
things. Nope, they're just
Are they?
walking out.
Oh my god, are they not?
Okay, I need Advil. Where's the aspirin?
Guys?
No.
Oh wait, they're changing their sets to how? Oh.
Okay, that's better. All right, okay.
I think they
Everything's fine,
discovered that they're
everything's
on the stream.
fine. They're doing the dancing. How do they know? Like,
I don't know. Somebody must have tipped them off. Congratulations, guys. You did it after 3 attempts. Nice. Yeah. All right. You guys go about your business and we continue with our business. We do have a few PSAs, some news articles that we want to get through. And, I don't think anybody can find them this deep in the roads of Avalon. So
No, I
I
think
think
they're
it's
fine. They're
fine
fine.
to
It would
show
be
that.
very impressive if they were able to pull it off. I would be like, "Oh, that's worth. Good
Mhm.
job." And look at this, all them dancing naked. They know what to do when they're on AOTV. That's how you roll. You take off your gear, you start dancing. Hit that
Nice,
clap.
nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
All right, well, thank you. You know what? In honor of that, I'm gonna pull a raffle in honor of these guys getting down their little boss here. So, Comtos, congratulations.
Now
Whisper
another
Manacling
thing I see
advice.
though, Shozen, is I still haven't seen anybody who can actually harvest this. So I don't know if this is going to happen or not. We'll find out. We'll find out. Yeah, but today's show, we do have a few things we want to remind you guys of. Some things that are going on in the world of Albion, some things you might have missed, some things you shouldn't forget. And yeah, hopefully the raffle
Well, let's get
gods
to
are
it.
kind to you.
Yeah. Well, so we have the monthly Frost challenge. This every month there's a challenge. It comes out at the beginning of the month. This month is the Frost challenge. This is where you get your fancy RAM. You can do your lovely iframe leap that many people do enjoy. I know that many of the top PvPers do enjoy a good Frost RAM. So if you want to consider yourself a top PvPer or sell stuff to a top PvPer, go ahead and get yourself a nice
Really?
fancy Frost RAM. What?
The PvPers thing in the Frostram chat, is that a thing? Is that actually a
Well,
thing?
yeah, I would say like a Nomad Poncho uses one, for
Uh-huh.
example, and a lot of people
But that
use
guy's
them
mostly
because of
solo
the
though, right?
it's because yes,
Yeah.
small scale PvP specifically
Keeper
because
of
of the
Nature says
iframe.
no.
Because of the iframe, you can actually get away. Yeah, Pest Lizard, very good as well. A little bit
True,
more
true.
expensive. I would definitely say Pest Lizard's a great mount. There's no argument there. Keeper, for sure. Um, but we have more PSAs, Bogle, that we need to
Yeah.
get through really quick here. We have a small patch on the test server right now, patch
Mhm.
3. It's mostly bug fixes and tiny things that, add up to fix quite a few things, but it's a smaller patch. It's not our mid-season content balance patch that we are all expecting here at the end of January, which is the one we are talking about quite a bit with the big changes to um, like crowd control and diminishing returns on targeting, as well as a number of other fundamental gameplay issues, as well as a huge change to lots of weapons across the board. Like there's some balancing going on there, Bogle.
Absolutely. That one has been, or that patch has been in the works for quite a while, Retroman. He often goes to the NDA thread that is found in the general all the way up here, general section of the forum, general discussion and questions. And he regularly updates this very long balance thread with current in testing things, right? So, for example, the Holy Staff or Nature Staff that's currently being in testing, changing the cast time of Circle of Life, for example, or the stuff you mentioned, a big change to the ways how crowd control is dealt with in terms of escalation or in terms of duration or in terms of diminishing returns.
Hmm.
So I put the link in the Twitch that you guys can read it there. And that's in there to sort of give everybody a fair chance to see what is in testing and what has the potential to change not only the markets, but also potentially the meta in the upcoming future. So yeah, check that out if you haven't. It gives you a good insight into what is to come, and I think he says planned for end of January, if I
Hmm.
see this right.
Yeah, I believe that's when it's scheduled, but it's in testing, so anything is still up for changes and can be delayed at any time. But lots of good changes there. It's going to be interesting to see. We will continue to go over this as it gets closer and closer. We've been examining some of the changes on our specific shows that deal with PvP.
Mm-hmm.
So the 5v5 shows on Tuesday and Saturday, you'll hear us talk about the different changes to weapons specifically on there as we talk with our PvP experts. But when the patch does release, we will do an entire show dedicated to it as well. Moving on, Bogle, there's a little thing that came out the other day. Teeny
Mm.
little thing. Wallpapers. Little.
Yes,
It's just a
yes.
little bit of news. But I think that, for some of us out there, we do like to switch up our backgrounds. I did switch up my background with this, and it's a little spooky now. I do enjoy it. I'm not using that one. I'm using the other one. But it's nice to get new wallpapers, and they're pretty as always. And every content update, there are new updates. And there were a bunch of them recently as all the cities got new ones. So uh, for the, what was it, the Outland cities, Bogle?
Hmm.
All three of them got new ones, so that was cool. All right. What else do we have for PSAs? Oh, Albion's year in review. And that's a good transition into what we'll be doing for the rest of the show, Bogle.
It is a longer post on the official news section where, Albion, as you do at the end of the year, looks back at what has been going on. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, we spent about 2 or 3 shows already dissecting that at length. So today we thought it might be fun to, maybe talk to chat about what they want to see for 2022 or what we would like to see for 2022. And I also remember a little bit of a similar post at the end of the last year where they had at the very bottom of it, goals for 2022 and additional goals as well. I think most of the quote unquote goals that they set out to do were achieved this
You're
year.
talking about last year's for 2021. Yeah, they
Yes,
didn't do
yes.
this for 2022.
No.
And for the 2021 post, they talked about all the things they had achieved in the previous year
Hmm.
and then the things they would like to get done in 2021. And as Bogle said, they checked a lot of those off. But there were a couple that kind of maybe slipped through the cracks. And I know at least one of them is near and dear to Bogle. And he may bring it up once again for the 2022
Trade contracts
roadmap. Yes, yes. But Bogle, before we get into this big piece for today's show,
Shozen.
yes,
I think we need to draw another raffle in
yeah.
honor of the boss that wasn't harvested.
Oh,
I think they just can't do it. I mean, why would you? Do you expect loot from it then? Maybe these guys know or don't know that these mobs don't drop a lot. The whole reason to kill them is to harvest them for their resources. That's the point of these big scary dudes.
okay.
Good lucky find
right,
though.
all right.
And they have this comp, right, where they need a special comp to be able to do the boss, which is, oh, there we go. I got scared. Okay. Moonlight.
Well, they were taking their sweet time to do it.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Oh, yeah.
definitely they were showing off their inability to be stream sniped. They were like, "You can't find us.
See the text
You would
that
need
he's
a
getting, by the way?
government pigeon to find us."
He's getting 25.
Congratulations, government pigeon, on winning the raffle.
He's getting 25 per tick here.
Per?
Yeah, look at the
Oh,
numbers.
that's nice. I'll take that. Oh,
And I think
that.
the whole thing has 500. And that's just raw nodes, right? The 500 is without the bonuses you get on top, so it's quite a lot of tier 7 flags that these guys are. All right, that makes for a good background. Never mind. What were we? What did we? I was about to call this a raffle worthy event.
Well, I pulled a raffle for that
There we
event, Bogle. I did. I pulled one, and it was won by Government Pigeon, and he is going to search them out and deliver our messages for us.
Nice. Yeah. So we didn't want to dwell on the missed goals from the last year because these are mostly listed under like additional goals.
Yeah.
And the thing that we've heard rumors of is that there's currently, a sort of roadmap in the works for the year 2022 of Albion. It's not been announced anywhere yet, right? It's not public. The guys, I think, are still, putting the final touches on how to word things for the roadmap. I don't know anything about the specifics of it, and I don't know if you do either.
No, I'm completely in the dark on this. I'll be honest. Generally, I've been better informed on what's the future of Albion holds, but the company has grown quite a bit in the last, I would say, year, and I'm not in the same meetings I used to be in, Bogle. I'm just not there. I'm not
Oh,
hearing about what's going on.
poor Shozen.
I have well, I have other things to do now. I have like there became more responsibilities here, so I
Hmm.
took on more of these, and you know how it goes. Still do quite a bit of feedback, but it's not. I'm just not hearing what's going on, Bill. I don't know. So I thought it would be fun if
Mhm.
you and I, because we have no information on this, if we took our hopes for 2022 and shared them with the audience, because understand, guys, what we say here, what we would like to see on the roadmap, we have no power to put on there. We don't know what's going to be on there. Take it with a grain of salt. This is all speculation.
I'd still like to hear what chat wants to see for the new year, though, because I think a
You
lot
want to
of
do that
people.
before we tell ours, honestly?
I mean, people can write in chat, and I think we can pick up one or two and
Okay.
discuss them, because I'm sure there's plenty of good ideas, and putting them out there would be nice. So feel free to type something in chat if you really want to see something fixed or added or done for the new year. If not, we'll
Mm.
just waffle on about what we want to see. Do you want to do a top 3, or do you have like
Well,
15
we
things?
gotta kill RMT from Finch Face.
Uh-huh.
That is an ongoing battle that SBI has been engaged with since before release, and they will continue to do that. I imagine more efforts will go into it in the upcoming years now that there are more resources to fight that, I guess. And honestly, as the population increases, there'll probably be more to fight.
OCE, SEA crystal timers? Mm, I, th-
CA crystal timers.
I think we
Oof.
have downtime. Or
Yeah,
no, just
that's
joking. I think OCE, SEA is like 12 UTC, right? So 10, 12, 15, that kind of
mm,
area. Yeah. I'd like
I
to
don't
see some
know.
improvements too to Crystal League. Sure.
Crystal League in general, I'd like to see improvements on, and we can
Mm.
talk about that in a little bit. But I think that it needs to have a before we start adding more timers for certain aspects of it. I think we need to look at the base idea of how you make it more approachable in general. And I
Right.
think
Hmm.
that some of the issues that the SEA guys could be mitigated if certain levels were just available more often. And the way the Crystal League was um, how do I say this? Like split into tiers was done in a different way instead of time gating. We could find a better way to do so, and that's something I would like to see in the upcoming year. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more. Um, we have more too. We have a. I would like to see some defensive options for solo gatherers. Bogle, we've talked about gathering gear quite a bit on the show over the last year. It's a hot topic around here.
It is, yeah. We do have. I always go back to I think Robin Hood RS's opinion or his
Hmm.
complaint. Because his stance is that if you wear gathering gear, you basically decide not to fight back. At this point in time,
Right.
because your whole gear and skill setup is limited to a degree where you're built for purely escape. And in any one-on-one situation, you don't have the passives on it, and there's other sort of issues with that. But I always hear that criticism where maybe move some of the skills or rework some of the way gathering gear works, um, in a way where you kind of can fight as well, but that might defeat the purpose of them, right? So that
Well,
there's
here's
there's
the
this
the
trade-off thing.
Yeah, the answer I've heard on this, and the option that I've heard was to more specialize the tools and design the tools in a way so that in order to get the best buffs you can for any one particular type of gathering, you'd want to have all five tools on you at one time, which increases your value to other people who would want to gank you because you have a lot of stuff of a high value on you. But it would allow you to, instead of having the bonuses from gathering gear on gear you're wearing, it would put it on the tools that are in your inventory, giving you that same gathering bonus, but you'd be able to wear normal gear so you could PvP and fight and build a build that is defensive in the ways you want to or offensive in the ways that you feel comfortable. So you could continue to enjoy the world of Albion while maintaining that high gathering yield that you get from the gathering gear.
Mhm. Yeah, there's plenty of options there. But as a gatherer myself, I do feel the pain. And at this at my life in terms of game experience, I've slowly graduated to the I guess roaming style where I just carry the tools around, but sort of actually look for fights or look for mobs as well, and then sort
Hmm.
of do a mix where for the other content other than the shiny nodes I'll be gathering, I just need the regular gear, so to say, and I also get fame for that as well, right? So if you try to mix gathering and faming, then you don't really get fame other than for your weapon if you go
Hmm.
full gathering set.
Or you
And
don't
that's
get
awkward.
good yield. So,
Yeah.
and I know that the way the game is right now and the way I'm playing, honestly, is that I'm prioritizing roaming mobs over gathering yield. And if you put on gathering gear, you're just so ineffective at so many things and you're so open to attack that I'm just not using it. And it feels like uh,
Hmm.
it's a step backwards for me. Um, there's actually quite a few questions right now. Let's see. What was the other one? I'd love to see fame tomes for gathering and crafting. It is sad there are only combat ones. Now, I gotta say, I don't know if I actually ever want to see tomes specifically for those types of things, but other ways to gather fame in bulk for those, I would like to see. Such as we just watched with the gathering boss that just was downed.
Hmm.
The player who did the farming on that, the gathering on that, got a huge amount of fame. And I would like to see more of that kind of thing in game, much like we have now in the Outlands with those super nodes that you show up on the map.
Hmm.
I think that is the equivalent of an active form of fame toming. It's you have to search it out and go do it. With gathering and crafting, I never want to see a um buy in, pick it out, and then unload it and get it. Like I feel like that's one of the few areas where it still requires the grind to earn it. And as the grind goes further and further away from the weapon and armor spec, and there's less and less of a grind on that, I still want to see the people who've earned
Hmm.
those gathering no
Two comments.
yields
Two
get
comments
get
on
get
that.
it. Okay.
One comment is that for crafting, you already essentially have that, which is called studying.
True. Yeah.
So you in theory can just go through all the cities and buy a bunch of things and just quote unquote eat it, and then you get the fame for that as well, right? So tomes exist for crafting already. For gathering and refining, there's no real specific way to power level that, and I think that might be by design. But I don't know. The discussion is always around, but what I spent so many hours doing it, and that feels kind of bad for other people, especially if the rate at which you could get silver would outweigh the time it took you to grind it, and then it feels kind of awkward. But as the game matures, maybe there is a compelling reason at some point in time, but that's one of the age-old discussions of Albion that have always been there. But I don't know. I am sort of to me it's already there, right? And I have an account that's so old that I already have it, so I don't mind too much. I'd feel a little bit awkward because I spent time doing it in the past, but right now I don't know.
Mm.
Hmm. Anyway, I think we should get to our top three. Because
Oh yeah, for each of us.
yeah.
Well, here, yeah. I mean, for me personally, the thing that I want to see changed more than anything else is to see the Crystal League become more accessible to the entry level. I want to see it cheaper, more often, and with a greater scaling between the levels than we currently have. When I look at level twos and a soft IP cap, and then I look at level nines, I'm really looking at okay, so What the true scaling is here is somewhere between 1100 IP and 1700 IP full loop PvP, and that's the scale. When you look at
Mhm.
the wide variety of PvP in Albion beyond that, that is such a tight, narrow niche of PvP. Like everything else we have, it has true scaling for non full loop PvP, then a scaling of full loop PvP after that with different levels of difficulty. Um,
Mm.
and risk versus reward. But there is a huge cliff for the crystals right now. You go from the level ones, the non full loot,
Throw you into the boiling water kind of
to full
feeling.
loot with 5 sets,
Yeah.
and that is you're because of the leap from twos to threes, you see so many smurfing teams at two
Hmm.
that it's unbelievable. Like I'm watching teams that I've watched do fives for 3 or 4 years, still doing level twos because they don't feel comfortable going against the level threes because the level threes are the same teams that can do level nines because of the way
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
this is scaled is there are 3 options for you to do at any given time on the regularly scheduled events, and that means that you have the top 5 teams competing together. You have everybody else going into level twos who's willing to go for full loot, and then the vast, huge majority of players never even seeing full loot PvP out of the Crystal League because it's such a huge investment compared to what you get out of as a reward. And that's what I would like to see changed in 2022. End of rant.
I mean, it has to be said, right? Has to be said. You are. I mean, we are watching the 5v5 and 20 versus 20 Crystal League here. I know 3 times a week, sometimes more often. And certain things you pick up over time, and it's always a question how you can prioritize, that kind of balance change with all the new stuff that has come out in the last not 2 months. Lands Awake, it wasn't quite a small thing, so there has to be some trade-off in that, but I do feel your pain as well. Yeah. My big thing that I'm an econ guy, right? I'm a true city rat. I live in the city. I look at the market. I like to buy and sell, and I think I spend a good. I mean, I think the longest time I ever did not leave it Carleon was somewhere between 4 and 5 months, I think. So where I just logged into the game, did stuff in the city, and didn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might have teleported to like Limhurst or something, but only to check prices. So, but at the time I was running like a big empire, right? I had, many islands, and I was doing a lot of crafting for the black market, and I was a happy life. I earned my fortune from that sort of game style as well. So now I can go out and, wear 8.2 gear and not blink. So that gave me some sort of freedom there. But because of that background,
that's some freedom there, Bogle.
yeah,
I'm just gonna wander out in 8.2 because I can afford to lose 5 sets like you can afford to lose a 4.2.
yeah, a few hundred sets. What I want to see is an update to some of the crafting ecosystem. So that includes how you craft, how that output is processed, either in terms of the market, the black market, or with how the laborer system works, and how it's distributed, right? So the whole process of gear getting into the world and how that is being able to being interacted with by the player base. Because one thing I see lacking is, paying people to move stuff for you, which is, transporting in the world of Albion is not a good business because you need to trust so many people along the chain. And if there is a way to sort of force a certain level of trust for payouts specifically, would make the economy very interesting to me personally. Because I could, set up a way to buy stuff in Limhurst, move it to Fort Sterling, craft it there, move it then to Carleon, and maybe through a guild hideout, maybe to Merlin's Rest. That kind of web of contracts and moving parts would be super interesting for me personally.
Yeah, I know you've talked about this quite a bit about the guaranteed transport contracts and how to make them viable without making them abusable.
Mm.
And I think there's some very interesting thoughts that you've come up with over the years, and I'd like to see that come into the game because two things instantly, pop out to me. One is that you see the transfer of silver from people who have a lot of it to people who are trying to make it in the world of Albion and don't know where to go, right? And those are the number one people who are going to be taking up trade contracts. Those people who are like, "How do I make silver in Albion? Can somebody tell me?" And then, people will be like, "Yeah, do a trade contract. Just do it for somebody else. Make the silver off of a player."
And that
And
that interaction right now is really hard to facilitate without help from the game, basically. Because if I just do it randomly and just message somebody and he says okay, then I have a very very high chance that the guy will just say thank you
Mhm.
and leave with
Yeah,
my stuff. So yeah.
there needs to be some kind of way to guarantee it with some kind of MacGuffin that they're carrying, and then when they complete their contract, you get the items at the end. Whereas if they don't complete the contract, they're the ones on the hook for the loss, not necessarily you. Now, I believe that there should be some kind of penalty on your end too for them not completing their objective, but you shouldn't be on the whole hook for it. And I'd like to see how that could be implemented through the trade contract system, so it's fair to the person doing the ganking as well as you who's doing the contracting.
I mean, OSIC 99 says it. That's what you do, right? The whole system exists. You just more or less need to copy paste it. But the problem is that, you know, Lands Awakened, you
Development
have to
time,
do other
yeah.
stuff first. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. The Lands Awakened, I'm really glad that they did everything they did in
Yeah,
there. That's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
worked really well.
The longer I see it out, and the longer I see people, know finally getting into the world, I go, all right, yep, yes, that had higher priority. I can see it. I can see it.
I'm gonna hurt myself reaching over my back like this.
You okay?
Yeah, I just had to pat myself a little bit.
What else do you have on your list?
I would like to see improved Outlands map functionality so that there is less empty space and more universal information so that when you're out there across the three different map thresholds, the same information is present either by an above tab or side tab that shows the information in the zone that you would click on so that who owns the territory, who owns hideouts, what the prime time is, what events are occurring in that, what kind of materials there are in there, what the resource node, rates are, what the crafting returns are. I want all that information there on one tab and not have to look through 3 or 4 different levels of the map to be able to find out who freaking lives there. Like, and when the events are happening. And I don't want to have to go to an overlay to find out when like, so who owns it? I want to be able to click on the map, not have to click on the tower in the map because the tower don't work. Okay, I'm going to end up ranting. Okay, we're going to back off a little bit. Breathe. The map needs some work, and I'd like to see it improved over the next year, specifically the empty areas when we're at the. Bogul, zoom out a little bit.
I found a good area to show. That
Okay.
like if you open the map here, then you know where you are, right? I think there's a similar spot like here. That's a great part of the map. Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's the overlay improvements still coming, right? That's for the new year. Like the silver value stuff of the value showcase of the areas that's coming, but I'm also in favor of just make it 2D and then
Well, I think we can do it with the 3D map, and I've heard the technical reasons why we do a 3D map. I don't think the 3D map is the issue. I think that the choices of how far it can zoom, where the information is displayed, and the size of the information on the map is the biggest issue. And I think that all of those can be um, fixed. I don't think it's it. any of the problems are so bad that they can't be fixed. It's just like one of those things that we've talked about before is that there needs to be the appropriate amount of effort put in to make it happen. And this is one of those things. It feels really small and it won't have like a huge impact on sales of the game. But for the people who use the map every day, it can improve the quality of life and how do I say this? Like the hmm, what's the I got to be very careful with the word that I'm choosing here. Uh, the level of polish that Albion displays to its new users.
I see.
Hmm.
Nice choice of words. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see a map improvement too, and maybe there's time. Maybe there's time. We haven't seen the roadmap yet, so I still remember some of the goals from the additional goals. So my number one pick was on that list even last year already. So I just say, all right, do this now, because apparently mobile launched this year, and Lands Awaken and the Call to Arms with the introduction of the faction rework, it is arguably, yes, quite a handful. So all right, all right, all right. But my other one that I think is important in because of the player population growth, and how big groups get in terms of organization, is improving the API.
We've
That
talked about this one a lot. We've even done interviews with people on this one.
Yeah, with one of the web developers who we talked about that I think last year at around this time. But yeah, improving an API in the sense that there's a lot of information that is available for your character. What guild is he in, what kind of stats does he have, other history things that might be important for recruiting purposes, other things for guild internal things like the current amount of silver in your bank or certain things in your guild hall or guild chests, so you can do inventory management. So a lot of people think about API just in terms of character stats, but I'd like to see it in a bigger way where you can basically configure a way to output chest content through the web. So you can almost manage your guild stockpiles, or maybe even your current sale orders or your current stuff on your guild marketplace, for example. If you could see what you have in stock, for example, or what you're buying and selling somewhere in the world, not in the game, that would be very interesting to advance sort of the overhead that is very, very frustrating for a lot of people and creates a lot of burnout for guild logistics officers. Somehow see that improved.
Oof. I gotta tell you, Bogle, I don't think there was anything in any MMO ever that burnt me out the same way as doing regears in Albion Online did. Like I don't think any game ever has ever done to me what that did to me over a period of time. And I still wonder if today I'm still suffering from 2016's regears.
Yeah, I mean the negative part about that is the difference it creates between the haves and have-nots, right? That's a thing that if you don't have a capability of basically having, or the luck of somebody in your guild who knows how to do quote unquote IT, or quote unquote how to do like big database crawls and then setting up a guild system for you, you're way behind in terms of how you can organize, how you can compete, and how efficient you are. And that is a big drawdown of allowing an API and allowing people to fiddle with that kind of big data. So there's a trade-off, but ultimately, I think it's just a required standard at some point because of the large scale organizational aspirations guilds have. We have alliances with more than 5,000 people. So you can't
we have
manage
an
that if you don't
alliance
have
with
automated.
45,000 people.
Yeah, you can't manage that size without some sort of help. And the current API from the Killboard was never made to be an actual
Mm.
API. People are just literally scraping the website, which is traffic intensive and not ideal.
Well, hopefully in 2022, at some point, there will be enough space and manpower available to make something happen in this area. I do understand that more talent has been brought in to SBI, specifically in the full stack web development field that an API would be derived from. Hopefully, they'll be able to do that. I know that the mobile release and the stores took up a huge amount of time for the web developers, but we should be seeing some kind of horizon on that in the near future where they will have the time to hopefully work on the website.
Yeah. If you guys know somebody who does that as, for a living, send them towards SBI. I think they need 1 or 3 more people.
Got to be able to live in Berlin.
Yeah. That's fine. Do you have another point? Or because I think we
What else
said
did
top 3, sort of.
What else did I really want to see here this year? Oh, I could say dragons, Bogle.
So that's endgame raid content, like PvE
Endgame
content?
PvP raid content that requires you to bring more than one group and engages you long enough that others would want to get involved, but that really feels like a process that you need to learn and work towards and be prepared for, but makes you want to go at least once a week to get your shot at it. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see an endgame PvE event that makes you want to show up once a week with 40 plus people.
Mm. I'm going to take a similar route like you, but I'm going to go back to one of my old requests where it's basically introducing a sort of game mode to Albion, where you basically get you can't go, let's say, on an island or something that spawns somewhere, or on a temporary world that has a bunch of resources there, but you can't take anything with you, right? So you go there, you keep your skills, you keep a destiny board unlocks,
Mm-hmm.
but you sort of build there and fight there in that temporary world for a day, a week, something like that. And then you go through a very intense experience of building something
Mm-hmm.
that we or a few people experience. That it's similar to when you launch an MMO, right? When you
Yes.
run through this sort of discovery process and logistics process for the very first time, and you're building something. And that kind of feeling is so extremely unique that I would like to replay that in the same game, not only once when alpha launched and
Yeah.
beta launched and release launched, but there could be a way to do that somehow.
People liked that gameplay loop so much, Bogle, that there were groups that would show up every time we wiped and then just come back for the initial 2 week period afterwards, mostly focusing on the 4 to 5 day initial push period. And I think you and I developed what we would consider like a 4 hour watered down version of this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was really, I think it could have worked. It was based on the idea of building up your resources, your gear, and then taking down an outpost held by the enemy that until you got past a certain threshold, you wouldn't quite be able to take their guards. But it created a constant fight for resources, a constant separation of roles, and really encouraged the use of people who weren't just PvPers but had spent time gathering and crafting as well. I really want to see that someday, but I don't know. I That's one of those ones I just I don't know if we'll ever see it, Bogle.
yeah. I that trade contracts. That's my 2 asks that I have for the long term future of Albion, and I guess the long term improvements too. my favorite game style, which is building things, making things.
Mhm.
That's my top priority list.
I would play that, Bogle, every time. I got to tell
Yeah.
you that that kind of gameplay where, say, you have to go out and you have to spend the first 20 to 30 minutes really gathering, heavy gathering, and then spend, time building up your weapons and defending the creation of your weapons, and then moving on to gathering specialty materials so that you can build that higher level stuff and really arm your elite squad that needs to then go push in to get the next thing and fight their elite squad while you slowly build up your main army, and then two armies go at against each other in a giant clash at the end for control of like the territory. That's awesome. I would love to see that kind of event and be pure joy on my end.
Yeah. One can dream, one can dream. We'll see what the roadmap holds. We'll see what the future holds in Albion. Hopefully pretty soon. I hear the whispers that I think they're trying to get it out this month. So that's nice.
I'm hoping that we'll hear about this roadmap by the end of January for sure. Bogle, we have a few more things I'd like to go over before we head out of here, because I on these shows I like to look at Reddit. I like to spend time looking at the dumbest memes, the best memes, the best quality, low effort memes that Reddit has to offer. And I think we have some good candidates this week.
I looked at these and I have a slightly different humor than you, and I think I liked one of the 5.
That's pretty good. If you can make a
two.
German like 2 out of 5 funny things, you're doing good.
Wow. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. What's the first one you have?
I'm finishing up a gold raffle.
Is that a meme too?
Okay, first one. Best lazy meme. # best meme.
This one.
Yeah, it's Reddit. It says the best one.
New players when they ask for the best build. What's the depends on the content. All right. Yes. So true.
The best. It's so lazy. It's so true.
I mean, and the question, right? It's one of these things where if you ask a strange question, you got a strange answer, right? Because the best is an ultimate sort of thing, and you're like, is this a one-dimensional game? What are you asking? What? And then usually it just means that the player who's asking that question either needs to define his question more, and
they need to define it further than that too. You can't even say just what kind of content you want to do. It doesn't just depend on content.
Your role.
What role do you want to play in that content? Yeah.
Are you good?
Are you good at the game? What's your ping? How much money do you have? How much are you willing to lose on any given content?
Yeah.
Like there's a number of things that go into that. It's not an easy question. What's best?
Can you only wear tier 4, or can you actually wear tier 8?
Oh god.
Do you have a refill level? How many donkeys can you fit in your inventory? Like important questions that you need to consider before sort of giving an answer. All right, I like this one. You convinced me.
All right, and Kraboom just proved us all wrong. He just says use one-handed mace. Done. You need something for tanking? Try one-handed mace. Oh, you need PvP. Okay, go one-handed mace. Oh, PvE DPS? One-handed mace. Oh, you're doing corrupted dungeons. One-handed mace. Arenas? One-handed mace. 5v5? Go ahead, one-handed mace. Oh, you're going to be doing some ZVZ. Go ahead and one-handed mace. Going to faction fight? Oh, one-handed mace. Solo ganking? Oh, go one-handed mace.
Oh, I'm getting Nerf vibes. Real big Nerf vibes. Shozen. Ouch.
It's not exactly true, Bogle, but it feels like that sometimes. Let's see.
It does. Oh my
Transporting?
God.
Need to get out quick? One-handed mace. Going gathering, wearing 100% gathering gear. You know what you need? Really round that out? One-handed mace.
How about permafrost?
No.
I mean, DPS wise, it's quite good.
Yeah, but not compared. It's not going to get you out of the same. Well, all right. You do have an extra blink.
I mean, somebody really likes permafrost, though. Somebody really, decided, well, that's my favorite thing, and he's even asking on Reddit how long does it usually take to craft an 8.3 permafrost, because he's been working on his
Segue.
for a few weeks now. Yeah.
This one's pretty good. This is probably better than the bear paws, I'd have to say. It's right up there.
I want to see this from more angles when it's done.
Yeah, I want to see this thing finished. It's looking good. It's looking good. It needs a staff, though. And it's not going to quite be there until the staff is attached to that skull, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and I like it. How long did he say he was working on this?
A few
weeks now?
A few weeks.
Wow, Bogle, could you imagine if when you hit the craft button, your character had to stand there for 2 weeks to craft an 8.3 artifact?
Shozen.
You've been asking for that, haven't you?
I mean,
Yes.
to be like two things. One, I have had that experience trying to craft a few hundred fish saws at the time, which before it got fixed, literally took, I think I made a YouTube video at the time saying the best way to make money. I had a 2-hour video where the video started with me starting the craft, then the 2 hours just looking at one green bar going through, and then the end of the video was just the craft finishing. And then that didn't even make you that much money, but it was a funny troll. And then people looked at this and go, well, what? And then I got messages like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, that's one of my great YouTube successes, by the way. Random story.
I want to give a quick shout out and then pull a raffle for one of our new viewers, Tommy Lucker Prime here. He has just transported his first 1 million silver worth of goods through the red zones and avoided getting ganked. Apparently a little adrenaline there. Got his welcome to Albion.
Nice.
The heart rate up. Welcome to the game. Glad to have you on the show, and let's pull a raffle.
I think he only survived because all of Legion Broccoli is here in the Bank of Card and dancing. I think these guys are usually out and about ganking, but I don't know. I think there's a vegetable party for some reason. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's going on, Legion Broccoli? I assume you guys are watching. You guys doing all right?
I love it when they do that. I love it when we get the viewers are just having a good time enjoying the show and trying to get themselves shown on the air in the most wholesome of ways. Clapping. Shervis, Rafa Craft, Latina, Great Wall, Koku, Okami, Kaylin, Nine, Gnasher, It's Matitude, Mexica, El Chino, Fidero. There's so many names, Shozen. The Killer Demon, Invictus, Mr. Optic, Mystic, Jackfire. Oh, I know that guy. I think that's a streamer, isn't it? Yeah, I think we rated him yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Leo
right.
Vigo.
Well,
nice.
Give a shout out to them from Kaboom. Shout out to the Broccoli Dance Club. Well done. Do we have more Reddit? I think we do.
1 or 2.
Oh, yeah, we have another meme. Oh, dude, not the place.
The weight one?
Yeah.
Me after killing the guy with a husky and taking his loot. Everyone else at the veterinary oh, no.
Oh, not the place. Keep it in game, guys. Keep it in game.
Okay. Yeah. I rate that one. Sure. I like that one too, Shozen. I think we hit the 2 that I like.
I believe you said you didn't like any of these when I first gave them to you. All right, we got
Take some convincing. All right, take some convincing.
We've got another one.
Okay.
This meme works on so many levels, but you have to look past the
Me and
initial...
the boys on the way to join Bandit with our T4 healer builds to get free points.
Now, if you have ever watched the movies, Bogle,
yeah,
they started getting their energy by making little kids scream, which is, I imagine, what happens anytime the shot caller sees all their healers in T4 gear.
Who was the little kid? The shot caller or the healers?
Have you ever done it with Bob Freese? He's like 14. Wow. And I think he's older than that now. He's like 17 now.
Wow.
But He's one of the big faction fight callers out there. But by the end of the series, Bogle,
Mm.
they got their energy by making kids laugh, which I
Oh,
imagine what happens when the other team sees your T4 healers rushing.
oh, I get,
Yeah.
and these guys all have shitty IP as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
one AOE, bloop, 15 healers dead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
see, that's why I liked that one. I don't even know if the guy who made that one realized it worked that well.
I don't. You know, sometimes you get lucky. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one is just because we've seen the big brain meme used so many times, right? Big brain meme, probably the most overused meme of all memes. But this is the best use of the big brain meme of the week.
There's not much competition, Shozen.
Oh,
5v5 meta. I don't get it. I don't 5v5.
right. So
Like,
lava comp works, but no thought involved. Just aim, poo, 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 poo. Dive comp, you have to organize a little bit to say, both guys go there. Double melee currently is the double flick combo. So you got to be real big brain to move that guy not once, but twice.
mm-hmm.
However, the ones who are winning and the ones who know what to do are the ones who create many, many options for themselves, knowing where they're going to position their opponent and where they're going to be and not allow their opponent to get where they want to. And to do that properly, you need the ranged double DPS, the double range DPS of the Frost Fire combination that is currently dominating the meta because you have so many options. You can blink in, you can wall, you can slow, you can interrupt, you can win one-on-ones on the rats, you can prevent people from getting behind you because of the there's so many options right now, Bogle. And that's why it's the massive big brain meme of the week.
Nice. I like looking at Reddit in that sense. Sometimes you open a thread that has a lot of upvotes and you go, ugh, ugh. Sometimes you go, oh, interesting propaganda. Mm-hmm. Okay, who's winning now? Oh, right, the guy in the picture who says the other one's losing, and then sometimes you find some nuggets, right? I wonder where the B meme guys, the what's that?
Rusty Pug?
Rusty Pug, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back in a week or so, especially now that you used his name. It's like,
right?
yeah, he'll
Bees
be back.
Winter and stuff.
Before we get out of here, I'm going to pull another raffle, but I also want to answer a question by
Sure.
Wooksy System here in chat. He hears the term rats all the time. And he doesn't know what it means. Rats is a term that encompasses many different players in Albion, but generally refers to somebody who gets something for free, who doesn't work for their reward. So you have your corrupted dungeon rats. Those are people who will use movement builds to really irritate you by keeping away from you and winning over time generally, and just boring the hell out of you to get the reward without ever really engaging with you or winning a match.
I mean, these guys would just destroy the crystal, right, instead of fighting them.
Yeah, well, there's it goes beyond that, Bogle. We've seen different metas with the rats doing even more irritating things than that, making you leave, for example.
Yeah.
Because it's not always, especially with the rats, it's not always about the win. It's sometimes about the frustration that they're calling for you. Yeah, it's benefit versus risk. I guess you could say it's people are still working for it, but they're not risking anything for it. Then you have your ZVZ rats. ZVZ ratting is when you take a mount and an escape build and you kind of hang out behind the large zergs that are fighting and wait for many players to fall on the ground, and then you loot the dead players and run away. You're trying to rat the dead players around, pick up their loot, and get it before the people who actually earned it can get it. And you see a lot of the ratting. The most notorious rats for ZVZs would be the guild TikTok. You'll hear about them quite a bit. They've evolved beyond just ratting, but that's what they really built their reputation on. And then you have ratting inside of crystals, and that's generally referred to, and it's different than the other ratting. in that it's generally when you try to go behind your opponent and steal. Again, this is common theme with ratting, stealing, is steal their cap behind them without ever being engaged upon and not having to fight for it. You do it by having your team distract your opponents, all 5 of them, while the 5th member on your team generally goes back and rats, if you will, that cap alone. In 20s, similarly, it's when you have one person going to the uncontested caps and just trying to get one before somebody can respond to them and interrupt the capping. And that's, I believe, most of the ways in which ratting is done here in Albion.
I like that explanation. I also think that a big part of it is the risk versus reward, where you skew that in a sense that the effort to remove you from the equation, or to the effort to remove the rat from any sort of situation, is so time intensive that people usually choose to ignore it, and that's how you profit, right? You sneak your way in and dip in, dip out.
I think today we saw a really interesting thing with ZVZ rats on 2 separate occasions because we were watching that the Dior versus PoE, and what was the other group that was there with them?
I don't know. Elevate?
It was AAA.
AAA.
AAA
Okay.
was the other one.
Hmm.
So it started with AAA versus PoE. And as AAA was trying to cross the bridge chokehold, they kept getting distracted by the rats behind them because the rats were getting so close that members of AAA were chasing them, and it was lowering their numbers in the areas where they were trying to hold chokes, and it was becoming something more than a distraction. It was becoming, I would say, a detriment to their team. When it flipped and we had PoE there, we saw an entire western flank fall off and start becoming engaged with rats. Where when their 2 flanking teams that were trying to sandwich Dior um, were left on their own. I believe that group to the west was supposed to keep Dior engaged until the 2 flanking groups could have engaged on top of them from the top and the bottom while they were already engaged on the west. But what happened was is the rats pulled the western group off because they got distracted, or at least that's what it appeared to be. And then Dior, when they were hit by the 2 flanks, still had all their cooldowns available, and in the counter plays were able to end up wiping out first Wales's push from the north and then Syndic's push from the south. And had they been consistently engaged by the group across the bridge on their west, I don't believe they would have had those cooldowns. And yeah, so rats win the day for Dior there.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. One play style, if you want to do, you know where the fights are, and then you band together or you go solo and sort of join the battle somehow, but in a very, very specialized and interesting way that you can partake in if you have, just a few guys. If you can't mass fully, or if some big dudes fight in your zone and you just have your hideout there and you go, oh, what's going on here? And then, oh, wait, let me just take out my rat set and steal some stuff. Because I have a hideout. I can just bank it here.
I think that's a good place for us to end on. I just pulled our final raffle of the day, P to the J. Congrats, Whisper Me to claim your prize. Just simply need to click on my name and the Whisper button will appear. And I will send you a gold code in the next day if you Whisper Me. If not, then you get no gold. It's like not looting the body after you kill someone.
You don't want to do that. All right. Tomorrow, Shozen, tomorrow we do have the war report at 18 UTC, where we watch the large scale fights in the Outlands of Albion. We do have the new player show tomorrow at 19 UTC, where we will learn about an introduction to the ZVZ. Right? Like, so how
Robin Hooders will join us for that.
How are you supposed to, fight these large scale guild battles? Maybe some basic tips about positioning, some basic tips about what's going on. And then on the weekend, we do have our 5 versus 5 competitive evening where we actually start with 20v20 Crystal League and then move it over to another warport, or the other way around rather, and then do some 5 versus 5 Crystal League as well for the Saturday night entertainment.
It should be another good weekend this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. The war reports have been on fire, and we've seen quite a few new players in the 5v5 scene, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they balance out over the next month before the Crystal League Championship. And on that note, Bogle, I think it's time for us to head out. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed our look forward to 2022, a bunch of speculation, and what else did we do? Memes. I
And
like
dancing.
memes.
Look at this neat line. Look at everybody here. Shout out to all of you who decided to take out the dancing shows, the dancing outfits. Everybody with the same outfit looks so nice. It makes my heart, go bump a little when I see everybody dancing, having a good time.
Well, let me get out here and dance too. I need to dance.
Oh, Santa appeared. I think it's time, Shozen, to slowly change the outfit to.
Wait, oh yeah, it's time to no longer be Santa.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
Maybe it's
will
also
change my
time
gear.
to rate somebody after the show.
All right, let's do that. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope to see you all again tomorrow, as well as the 40 guys who left as soon as I said I was no longer pulling any more raffles.
Bye-bye.